Okay.
Hey there, Dr. Fred DiDomenico, Elite Coaching, and I am honored to have our guest today because he's a speaker, world-class leader in the profession, and a speaker at October 14th, 15th, semi-annual in, I said October already. And Joe, man, your name and your reputation precede you, and then you're just an all-around good guy, number one. And number two, your name ends in a vowel, and that's totally awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Borio. How you doing? Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, exactly. So that automatically connects us. But the theme for our seminar is bringing the world-class leader from inside you, and you're truly a world-class leader. And your topic on Saturday the 15th, stop accommodating. Ooh, right there, that sounds like pain. And start educating for an explosive PBA. Now, you're probably one of the leaders on PBA and one of the biggest practices in the history of the profession. So why don't you share with us the heat that you're bringing on Saturday, October 15th?
Yeah, there's two examples that come to mind. One is one of the examples I'll use, and we'll certainly talk about it at length, but if you take a glass of water, and it's clear, beautiful glass of water, and I drop food coloring, dark blue food coloring in the water, you know, what happens to the dark blue of the food coloring? It gets what? It gets diluted, right? Right, it gets diluted. So that's what we don't realize. We don't realize that if they come into your practice, the moment they come in, they're, are they getting diluted? Or are they getting concentrated? So whatever you're dipping them in, baptismal takes on the character of the, properties and characteristics of what you're dipping them in. What are you dipping them in? If it's deep blue food coloring, that's the principle of chiropractic, then when they leave, they're always going to get diluted when they leave because the rest of the world is diluted water, right? So you got to dip them in pure chiropractic. But if you're dipping them in faint blue chiropractic, the accommodating practice, if you're dipping them in something that's not concentrated, when they leave, they're only getting further diluted. So you know this better than anybody. You're an elite coach, right? People come in. If you're not teaching them the principle, I'm here to get cracked 5, 6, 8 times. You're great, great doctor, love the office. I'm out of here. You haven't led them. You haven't taught them anything. You've taught them zero. The other problem that I see, or challenge that I see with docs when it comes to accommodating, I always use, again, another glass of water. If I get a glass of water, it holds 100 gallons of water. If I put 10 gallons of water in it, I get 10 gallons of water in my glass, right? If I put 50, I got 50 gallons of water. I put 100, I get 100 gallons of water. So in physics, chemistry, biology, universal law, if I put more of something in or on something, I have more. But it doesn't work that way in a chiropractic practice. I put 100 more new patients into my practice. How is it that I still see the same freaking number of people in my practice? It doesn't make sense. That means that you're losing them. That means the glass is limited. That means you need to grow your glass. You need to stop accommodating. You need to increase your passion, your mission, your why, your skill set of communication and articulation of chiropractic, or you're constantly pouring water into a glass that can only carry 100. I get burnt out, I get tired, nobody's staying, because you're not changing your glass. You're not changing your mindset, your skill set, and that's what happens. So we got to stop accommodating the people. We got to stop telling them what they want to hear, and we got to realize that, like B.J. Palmer taught us, we are transferring a conviction. You're a math teacher teaching them calculus. You don't know anything about calculus. I'm your teacher today. That's what the word physician means, right? I'm a chiropractor. I'm going to teach you what it is chiropractic is. You already know I'm going to crack you and your body's going to feel better. You already kind of got that level. That's their logic. I'm going to take you and teach you what an adjustment is, what your nervous system is, how your spine needs to be cared for, like your teeth. I'm going to carry you all the way down. So by the time I'm done carrying you, you're going to have some sense of what it is we're doing. I'm not going to accommodate you down the road. I'm going to be teaching you down. I'm going to lead you. I'm a healthcare leader. I'm going to teach you what chiropractic is and why it's a requirement and a necessity to be under regular care if you have any hope for your body to work as well as it's supposed to. That's the difference.
Well, there you go, man. A requirement and necessity. And I think what that boils down to, there's so many great one-liners that you just spit out in a matter of a few minutes. As one of the top leaders in the profession, I would say your conviction probably comes from responsibility. Like when you say,
totally.
yeah, like maybe you could describe a little bit of what you're going to talk about, the responsibility of the purpose that takes every person, takes responsibility. And you know, we just talked about this. You had days where you had 1,000 people on your schedule, but that was 1,000 people that you saw one at a time.
Right.
That's like 1,000 relationships. What's the responsibility level that you felt for every person to teach them to make that chiropractic a necessity in their life?
Yeah, well, one of my lessons was I used to be a medical basher. And I didn't do it in a sense to be negative towards medicine. I was just like, wow, look at all this negative stuff. Like, I can't believe you're saying stuff about it. Look at this, you're dying from this, you're doing it. So I'm not saying we shouldn't recognize that, but the point that I got one day, and here I am talking and kind of hearing myself, and I'm like, wow, you know what? If 500,000 people or 1 million people die from the null study, right, from medical interventions, I'm equally responsible for the million. Not just medicine. Am I doing everything I'm supposed to be doing to educate those people and give them a brighter path towards health? So I started to realize, like, wait a minute, okay, we need to recognize those negatives, but I also have to realize that I'm equally responsible for everything that's happening out there. I'm not some observer who's watching, oh, look how bad they are. You know, look, you got to try to do what I do. I'm equally responsible. That's number one. Number two, I realize that I am one and everyone is one conversation away. You're one conversation away from them leaving. One conversation. So every single time, if I'm dipping them in, I have to dip them in pure chiropractic. And by dipping them in pure chiropractic, that means they stay under care. Because I know this and you know this. If you don't get care, if you stop receiving adjustments to your spine, you will be sicker, your organs will get sicker faster, and you're going to die sooner. End of story, no questions asked. But we're not the cultural authority. We have to be twice as good to get half the result. You as a chiropractor have to be twice as good at communication, twice as professional, twice as articulate. The office has to be twice as clean. Your staff has to be twice as good. They have to be twice as well trained. You got to be twice as good to get half the result. So knowing that, that's our challenge, but it's also an opportunity. So if you raise yourself up, it also becomes the opportunity. Wow, if I'm twice as good, more people are going to follow through. They're going to get better care. They're going to stay with me for a lifetime. And now I get invited to graduation parties and anniversary parties and holiday parties from patients I've been seeing 10 or 20 years. If you go to my Facebook page, just Joe Borio, you're going to see a picture of a 96-year-old guy I've been seeing for 20 years. And we're standing there. We both used to be boxers, and we're both standing there. I had him with the hook, by the way. But we're both standing there, and he's like, hey, Doc, I'd be dead if it wasn't for you. 2 weeks ago, I had an 86-year-old. He comes in. He started on a walker. He was under care for 10 years. He's in a split. He does a split because it was his 86th birthday. He didn't jump into it. He got down slow, but he got into a split, gave me a smile, got up. He said, Doc, if it wasn't for you. So it's not me that I'm elevating. It's us as chiropractors. What we do is life-changing, life-surviving. A subluxation, in Reggie's words, is an abomination to the potential, human potential. You got to own it. You got to understand it. The science backs it up. Live it, share it, tell the story, teach chiropractic, practice explodes.
Well, you know what? The conviction, there's no gray. It's black or white, man.
No gray.
Yeah, there's no gray.
And it should be, right? Shouldn't it be? Like, think about this, Doc. Think about this. This is where we're still at, and it still boggles my mind. Like, if you ask somebody, if you press on a nerve, forget chiropractic, forget even bone. If I take a nerve and I squeeze it, does it work better or does it work worse?
Right, obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're arguing about. Like, what's the argument? If your spine's out of alignment, it presses on nerves, it shuts the nerve down to some level. Is that going to make you healthier or sicker? It's going to make you sicker. So would you want to live sicker, or do you want me to take the pressure off so you can live healthier? Well, I want to live healthier. Well, how does it get out of alignment? Every time you eat, it creates plaque. Every time you leave this building and you go out and live stress, it creates subluxation is plaque on your spine. That's all it is. You need to get adjusted. You need to brush and floss your spine regularly for the rest of your life if you have any intention on being healthy and living as well as you're supposed to. End of story. Every scientific study shows that. What are we arguing about? How can you have people say evidence-based care? If I press on a nerve, it doesn't work as well. What the frick are we arguing about? Put the pressure off, right? It boggles my mind. What evidence are you looking for? Like, what are you honestly looking for to prove? Like, what is there to prove? Everything we say is already scientifically validated 1,000 times over. Why are we even at this level of conversation, right?
Exactly, man. And see that the passion that's coming out of you is like a match compared to the flamethrower you're going to bring in the seminar in Elite. So, man, it's you know, as we started developing a relationship, I'm like, dude, you have to bring your fire. You get invited on stages all through the profession, and so I'm just honored to have you. And that is just a glimpse of the purpose and principle and the transformation that you're going to bring. So I'm looking forward to hanging with you, and we're eating Italian food at the end of the evening.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
It's an honor, dude. Honestly, the fact that you asked me to be there is truly an honor. So, you know, I just want to share this with you too, Doc. I had a couple of clients that had, you know, from Chiropractic that had gone to your program. And, you know, so they loved what you were teaching and such. And you had said to them, you know, Joe's a great friend of mine, and I want you guys to feel comfortable here. I'm not trying to push you into anything. I don't know if you remember even saying that to them. I was at an event this week in OKC. So I'm with Dave Jackson, who runs Epic Pediatric. I'm with Eric Plask, who runs 100-Year Lifestyle. I'm with Pam Jarbo, who runs Bloom. I'm with Tim Young and Mike Buffington, who run Next Level Chiropractic Practice. And, you know, so we're all coaches, and there wasn't a smudge of scarcity, of coveting, you know, Tim Young gets up there and talks about, you know, what a great program I have, what a great coach I am. He does a 5-minute testament of how I spoke at Epoch and how chiropractic had made a big difference in his practice. And, you know, when I started seeing that type of stuff, which is just kind of new in the last few years, I'm telling you, that is huge for the profession, because you've got a bunch of leaders that are like, you know, screw anything. There's 60,000 chiropractors. We need everyone to be coached. We need everyone to be elevated. We need everyone to be inspired. And to have that relationship with you along with those other guys is a testament to you, Doc, and how awesome you freaking are. And I knew that when I met you at New Beginnings years ago, even though I heard stuff about you. And every time I talk to you, I have more honor and respect for you every time. So it's an honor, brother. I
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. And likewise. So we're looking forward to October 14th, 15th. You're speaking on the 15th. And people that are going to be there will truly get a transformation. And what you just said in the last few minutes is a small piece of what you're going to bring. So thanks, brother.
That was great. And thank you. Right there.
We'll see you.
Forget about it.
Yeah. Right.
Hey!